In this tutorial, you're going to learn how to use the Cubase score editor to produce accurate drum notation and single-line percussion notation for instruments such as agogo bells, guiro, and congas. Let's look at this Cubase project. If you look, we have two tracks, one called drums and one called percussion. Let's select the empty 2-bar MIDI event on the drum track and let's open it in the MIDI drum editor. We can now use the drumstick tool to create a drum pattern. Something simple like this. Maybe some hi-hats, and maybe some open hi-hats. Once we've created this drum pattern, which uses bass drum, snare drum, and hi-hat, we can close the drum editor. Let's now open this in the score editor. And you'll see now that it has some basic sense of staff notation, but there's far too many rests and perhaps some incorrect use of drum note heads. Let's now expand the view and let's open up the settings window. Within the score settings, let's focus on the staff tab and the main sub-tab. Let's give the staff a name, drums, and let's decide to use an eighth note as a display quantize and a quarter note for the rest display quantize. Let's choose the drum clef and let's turn the consolidate rests, clean lengths and no overlap on. Let's now apply that. Let's take another quick look at the notation and instantly the rests and rhythmic positions are tidied up. Let's now choose the options submenu and make sure that we've got the use score drum map ticked. This will make Cubase use the correct GM drum map. Now choose the polyphonic tab and let's choose polyphonic mode. We don't need to use voices 5 and 6, so we can turn them off. We just want to use voices 1 and 2. We want to set the stems to go up for voice 1 and down for voice 2. And click apply. We can now see that we've got some fairly accurate drum notation. Let's make it look a bit bigger. And we can see we've got the right drum heads and we've got tails in the right directions. Let's now decide that we want to make the hi-hat notes actually sit on top of the stave, rather than in this E space. We're going to do this by editing the drum map. Return to the project window, look in the inspector, and select the drum map setup command. You can now scroll down until you find the closed hi-hat note information. Within the display note, you need to change the E4 to a G4. Overtype it, click OK, and now do the same for the open hi-hat. Find the information, replace the E4 with G4, and click OK. Close the drum map and now reopen the MIDI event in the score menu. Now you can see that the drum notation has been changed and that the hi-hat notes are displayed on top of the stave. It's that simple to create drum kit notation. Now let's look at the second stave. This is designed to be producing single-line staff notation for percussion instruments such as a shaker, a guiro, or agogo bells. These percussion instruments generally display their rhythm patterns on a single line. Let's open this in the drum editor, let's use the drumstick tool, and let's work with the agogo bells. Let's now create a simple rhythmic pattern by entering notes with the drumstick tool. Okay, we can then close the drum editor and now open this in the score editor. Instantly we can see that the notes are displaying lots and lots of ledger lines and some rogue rests. So choose the I button to open up the staff settings, choose the staff tab, main tab, let's name it agogo or go-go's. And now let's set the display quantize up once again for the notes to be eighths and the rest to be quarter notes. Pop the consolidate rests and so forth on and click apply. We can instantly see that we've tidied up the positions and the note lengths, but we've still got problems with ledger lines. Let's now choose the options sub-tab and turn the single line drum staff on. Let's click apply once again. And now you can see that the notes are displayed on the line. It may well be that we want to display the higher go-go above this line and the lower go-go below this line. If we look at the two parameters in this window, at the moment they're set to C3 and C4. This means that any notes up to C3 are displayed under the line, any notes C4 and above the line. What we need to do now is to change this filter. Let's set them both to C3. Let's now click Apply. And now let's return to the drum map editor. So back to the project window, track inspector, and select drum map setup. Now let's find the agogo bells, scroll down, here is the high agogo, and we now need to change the display note for the high agogo to be above a C3. So let's overclick on this and let's type D3. And now let's find the lower agogo and set that to a note less than a C3. So let's set that up to be B2. So type in B2 and click OK. If we want to change the note head, we can simply click on that and choose a different note head symbol from the drop-down menu. Let's close that and reopen this again in the score menu. Now you can see that some of the notes are displayed above the line and some below the line. If we want to change the stem direction for individual notes, select a note and choose the Flip Stems button within the score menu toolbar. You can lasso a group of notes and make a change to all of them in one go, like this. So now we have a situation where we have an agogo part where the two pitches of the agogo are displayed above and below the line, and the stems are displayed accordingly. If we open both events in the score menu again, we can see just how easy it is to produce drum kit and single line percussion notation in Cubase.